There's a moment in every man's life when the questions become louder than the answers. A moment when success feels shallow, achievement feels incomplete, and the world feels like it's offering everything except what truly matters. Eastern wisdom for the modern mind pointed again and again to one simple truth. A man becomes wise, strong, and spiritually awake not by adding more to himself, but by understanding who he truly is beneath all the noise. Today, we're going to explore the qualities that awaken real inner strength, real clarity, and real spiritual awareness. 1. The first quality, the courage to see through the illusion of the separate self. Alan Watts said, "You are an aperture through which the universe looks at itself." A wise man is not someone who collects information. He is someone who shifts from ego consciousness to universal consciousness. Most men live their entire lives trapped in a false identity. The idea that, I am separate, I must defend myself, I must prove myself, I must control my world. Watts said this is the root of fear, insecurity, anxiety, and weakness. The spiritually awake man sees the illusion for what it is. He realizes he is not the voice in his head. He is not the mask he presents to the world. He is not the roles he plays. He is not the story he tells himself. He is the space in which all experiences appear. And when a man truly understands this, he becomes unshakable. You can insult him. You can doubt him. You can misunderstand him. But he stands firm because he knows he is not just a personality trying to survive. He is the field of consciousness itself. This is the beginning of wisdom. 2. The second quality, the relaxed confidence of someone who trusts life. Alan Watts often said, "To have faith is to trust yourself to the water." A strong man is not rigid. A strong man is not tense. A strong man is not constantly gripping the world trying to force outcomes. True strength is fluid, adaptive, and peaceful. It is the strength of water. It is the strength of trust. Watts taught that life is like a river, constantly moving, constantly changing, constantly flowing. Most men fight the river. They resist reality. They try to control the uncontrollable. And because of that, they suffer. The spiritually awake man does the opposite. He lets life move through him. He allows change. He accepts uncertainty. He rides the wave instead of fearing it. This doesn't make him weak. It makes him powerful in a deeper way. Because a man who can remain calm when everything is uncertain, a man who can remain centered when everything is shifting, a man who can move with life instead of against it, that man is unbreakable. 3. The third quality, a sense of humor about himself and the world. One of the most overlooked teachings of Alan Watts is this. Enlightenment has a sense of humor. Watts would laugh, smile, joke, even while talking about profound truths. Because the wise man sees that life is not a punishment, not a test, not something to take too seriously. Life is a dance, a play, a cosmic joke, and the joke is on the ego. The spiritually awake man knows everyone is pretending. Everyone is acting out their role. Everyone is doing their best inside the drama of being human. And because he sees this, he becomes kinder. He becomes lighter. He stops judging himself so harshly. He stops judging others. His strength does not come from domination. His strength comes from detachment and freedom. He can laugh at himself. He can admit when he's wrong. He can allow others to be imperfect. His ego is no longer fragile. It is flexible, and that makes him wise beyond measure. 4. The fourth quality, the ability to sit with stillness and listen to life. Alan Watts said, "Muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone." A man becomes spiritually awake when he learns the power of stillness, not forced meditation, not rigid discipline, not spiritual pride, but simple presence, silence, space, observation. We live in a world of noise. Constant stimulation, constant distraction, constant movement. Most men drown in it. The wise man does something different. He creates a pocket of stillness in his day. He stops running. He stops chasing. He stops filling every moment. He sits. He breathes. He observes. He listens to the quiet voice underneath the thoughts. And in that silence, he hears the universe. This stillness becomes his anchor. It becomes the place he returns to when life becomes chaotic. A man who can sit quietly with himself is a man who cannot be manipulated by the world. That is strength. That is wisdom. That is spiritual awakening. 5. The fifth quality, a deep acceptance of his own shadow. Alan Watts said that awakening is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming whole. A spiritually awake man does not deny his anger, sadness, fear, lust, weakness, or mistakes. He embraces them. He studies them. He integrates them. He understands that light and shadow are part of one whole, and that rejecting the shadow creates inner conflict. He knows. Your fears are trying to protect you. Your anger is trying to enforce boundaries. Your sadness is trying to release old attachments. Your insecurities are invitations to self-understanding instead of running from his inner darkness. He makes peace with it. Instead of pretending to be a flawless hero, he allows himself to be human. Watts said enlightenment is not about becoming something else. It is about fully accepting what you already are. The wise man does not fight himself, and that is why he becomes deeply strong. 6. The sixth quality, non-attachment to outcomes. A man who attaches his worth to results becomes a prisoner of success and failure. Watts said, "When you try to control the world, you lose control of yourself." The spiritually awake man acts with intention, but releases the need for specific outcomes. He works, but without desperation. He loves, but without possession. He dreams, but without clinging. He understands that outcomes are ripples, but the real power is in the state of being that creates them. This non-attachment frees him from fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of change, fear of the unknown. He realizes that life is not a straight line. It is an unfolding. And because he doesn't cling, he doesn't break. Because he doesn't grasp, he doesn't lose. Because he doesn't demand, he receives. This is the paradox of strength. Letting go gives you more power than holding on. 7. The seventh quality, awareness of the present moment. Alan Watts repeatedly reminded humanity, the future is a concept, the past is a memory. Only the present is real. Most men live in time travel, regretting the past, worrying about the future, missing the moment right in front of them. A wise man returns to now. He trains himself to experience life directly, not through the filter of fear, judgment, or fantasy. He notices the breath entering and leaving the sensations of the body, the feeling of the ground beneath his feet, the subtle details of each moment. He understands that reality only exists here. Never yesterday, never tomorrow. This present moment awareness gives him clarity. It gives him peace. It gives him strength, because a man who is truly present cannot be hijacked by fear. Fear lives in the future. Shame lives in the past. But presence lives in the only place that matters, and that presence is the birthplace of awakening. 8. The eighth quality, love without possession or control. Alan Watts taught that real love is not about ownership. It is about recognition. It is about seeing another person as a unique expression of the same consciousness you are. A spiritually awake man does not cling to relationships, he honors them. He does not demand love, he offers it. He does not fear losing someone, he respects their freedom. Because he knows that love is not something you hold. Love is something you allow his strength in relationships comes from. Honesty, presence, vulnerability, openness, freedom, compassion, not dominance, not manipulation, not fear. A spiritually awake man loves deeply, but holds lightly. 9. The ninth quality, the ability to surrender to the mystery. Alan Watts said one of the greatest signs of wisdom is this: a man who is certain knows nothing. A man who can live with mystery knows everything. Weak men cling to rigid beliefs. They need certainty. They want guarantees. The wise man embraces mystery, not because he is lost, but because he understands the universe is too vast, too beautiful, too infinite to be fully explained. He doesn't pretend to know everything. He stays curious. He stays open. He stays humble. This openness makes him mentally flexible, emotionally intelligent, and spiritually expansive. He does not lock himself inside a belief system. He does not fear the unknown. He does not become a prisoner of his own worldview. He dances with the mystery, and that dance makes him both strong and free. 10. The 10th quality, living from authentic inner alignment. Ultimately, Alan Watts taught that the awakened man is one who lives honestly, speaks truthfully, acts intentionally, follows his inner calling, chooses presence over performance, chooses authenticity over approval, chooses self-understanding over ego image. He does not betray himself for acceptance. He does not hide his uniqueness for safety. He does not sell his soul for validation. He lives from the inside out, not the outside in. And this inner alignment becomes the foundation of his strength. Because a man who is aligned with his true nature cannot be manipulated by society, cannot be broken by opinion, cannot be lost in confusion, he has come home to himself. And that is what it means to be wise. That is what it means to be strong. That is what it means to be spiritually awake. 11. The 11th quality, freedom from social approval. Alan Watts often said that society trains us to perform, not to live. From childhood, we learn to worry about how we look, what others think, whether we fit in, whether we're acceptable. But the spiritually awake man sees the trap. He understands that living for approval is living as a prisoner. So he frees himself. He no longer shapes himself to please the crowd. He no longer sacrifices truth for acceptance. He no longer trades authenticity for applause. He stands in his own center, quietly, confidently, firmly. His strength is not borrowed from opinions, it rises from within. And when a man stops needing approval, his true power begins. 12. The 12th quality, the ability to flow with change. Watts taught that life is not a fixed structure, it's a moving dance. Everything changes, everything evolves, everything flows. The weak man resists change. He clings to the past. He fears uncertainty. The wise man moves with life. He adapts. He adjusts. He evolves with the moment. He knows that resistance creates tension, but flow creates freedom. A man who can flow with change becomes resilient. He bends, but he never breaks. And in that flowing attitude, he finds both wisdom and peace. 13th quality, inner discernment over outer noise. We live in a world overflowing with opinions. Do this, don't do that. Be this, become that. Follow this path, avoid that one. But Watts said the true guide is always internal. The spiritually awake man listens more to his inner compass than the outer noise. He knows how to check in with himself. What feels aligned? What feels truthful? What feels alive? He does not move just because others are moving. He does not believe something just because others shout it loudly. He does not follow blindly. He listens, he feels, he discerns. This inner discernment becomes his lighthouse, especially when the world is chaotic. The 14th quality, gratitude for the ordinary moments. Watts taught that enlightenment is not in the exotic. It's in the ordinary: a cup of tea, a quiet morning, a walk, a conversation, a breath. The wise man sees the sacred in the simple. He realizes that life is not made meaningful by grand achievements, but by the depth of presence we bring to everyday moments. Gratitude softens his heart. It opens his awareness. It gives him strength rooted in appreciation, not in lack. Where others see nothing special, the awakened man sees the miracle of existence happening right now, and this gratitude becomes a steady source of wisdom and joy. 15th quality, a deep knowing that he is not the doer. Life is perhaps one of Alan Watts's most profound teachings is this. You are not controlling your life any more than you are beating your heart. The spiritually awake man understands that life breathes itself, life moves itself, life acts through him. He is not the isolated doer. He is the instrument through which life expresses. This realization dissolves anxiety, it dissolves pressure, it dissolves the obsession with control. He shows up fully, but without the heaviness of believing everything depends on him. He becomes like a musician, letting the music play through him, instead of forcing every note. This surrender gives rise to effortless action, the kind of action that is powerful, precise, and alive. When a man realizes life is moving through him, he becomes aligned, peaceful, wise, and unshakably strong. If you want to become wise, if you want to become strong, if you want to become spiritually awake, you do not need to become someone else. You need to peel away the layers, the noise, the ego, the fear, the pretending, the clinging, the old stories, the illusions, and when those layers fall away, what remains is your true nature, the same nature Alan Watts spoke about for decades. You are not just a man living in the universe. You are the universe expressing itself as a man. And when you realize that, your fear dissolves, your strength emerges, and your wisdom awakens.